Welcome to a special edition of our Marvel Studies on the Road to Infinity War. This week, we're riding down that road one last time prior to the Avengers Infinity War on a side-scrolling Avengers adventure covering our top 10 Marvel Cinematic Universe films.
That's right. I cannot wait to hear the top 10 list. But we're going to have a little fun along the way as we add to both our lists and some heroes as we go along this adventure.
And we'll share our lists of those shelf nerds that shared their lists on either the Twitterverse, Facebook, or just somehow reaching to us via the Pony Express or even through Homing Pigeon.
Yes.
And if you haven't sent us your list, we'd still love to hear how you'd rank these 18 movies. So send your lists to either at Shelf Nerds, at Alex_Salvo, at Spock and Solo, wherever you can find us, either in real life, in digital life, and what have you. But I think, Chris, before we get started, we would be remiss. We've been on a very long and winding road, but this really would not have been a thing without the genesis of someone else who we have to give full credit and full homage and thanks to for the idea behind this. Way back at the start of the calendar year, my wife, Jennifer, just kind of came up with the idea of, I think it was initially, maybe you should watch all the movies before you do it, but maybe it kind of then turned into, well, why don't you and Chris talk about all these movies before it comes out? Knowing that Black Panther would be part of our reviews and part of our critique as to how it plays into this upcoming film, a week from the day we are recording it, apropos. We're recording April 20th, 1 week ahead of the April 27th release of the Avengers Infinity War. So big round of applause.
Yes.
Goes to my wife, Jennifer, for the idea behind this. And so thank my wife if you see her, because without her, nothing brilliant goes on in my life.
Absolutely. Behind every great man is a great woman.
You helped too, Chris. Don't get me wrong, but I think this was a lot of Jennifer's idea that we have brought to reality.
She is the initiator.
She was the catalyst behind all this. Yes.
Yes.
Although can't hold it against her. She's only seen 8 of the films to this point. She'll find time for more. Don't worry. Comic book movies are not exactly her cup of tea, but she's coming around to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys still have Movie Pass?
Oh yes, we are certainly big fans of the Movie Pass. We are, I wouldn't say going to go ahead and just name drop Movie Pass, but it's America's #1 movie theater subscription service. Plus, for new members, they get an extended 3-month free trial of iHeartRadio's All Access. Only $10 a month to get started. The offer includes 4 movies a month with Movie Pass now. It's a little different from when it first started, but you do get an extended free 3 months of iHeartRadio All Access as part of it for any new subscribers.
So wait. So before Movie Pass meant you can watch one movie a day. Now it's one movie a week?
Yes, you use your Movie Pass card to get your ticket at the box office. You sign up and receive a card from Movie Pass within 2 weeks. You get a free app to download where you can browse theaters near you and showtimes that are available. You can either purchase your tickets to be digitally there on your smart device, or you pick them up at the theater of your choice. You catch the latest 2D movies in theaters, and that's pretty much now how it is designed to function, is using the Movie Pass. You do get the opportunity to watch. The new members get the opportunity to do 4 movies a month. Again, that certainly has changed from when it started. But again, it's certainly better than the alternative.
Sure.
4 movies for $10 is better than 1 movie for $13. So
Yes.
I think I would rather have 4 for $10 than 1 for $12 to $13, depending on the theater you go to and the experience that theater provides.
And really, what adult can see a movie every day? So 4 is probably actually good now that I think about it. Anyway, should we get into our lists? I'm excited.
Yes.
So, I want to know this. How did you make your determination when you were ranking these films? What was the what were the criteria you used?
Well, I kind of, at least myself, looked at my previous rankings. I certainly took a look at that when evaluating the 10 out of the 18 that made it into essentially the top half plus one. If you think about it,
Sure.
it is kind of that top half plus one now that we have Black Panther as our 18th film. I mean, 17 coming into the calendar year, as we talked about before, but 18 now with Black Panther. So again, it's that top half plus one as a sort of a best of the honorable mentions, I guess, of this canon that we've enjoyed so far. So certainly anything that I might have placed on a top shelf might have garnered a little bit higher ranking. Certainly things that made a second shelf could have gotten onto this list as well. And kind of looking back on the list as a whole, there was only 3 times, guiltfully, there was only 3 or 4 times where I didn't put something on a second shelf. I was highly in praise, and this kind of goes in the same vein for you as well. We certainly had a lot of nice things to say about a lot of films, so it did not make our job any easier.
Yeah, but I think that just holds up to the quality of these films just on a production level. That they're good movies. They're not going to be terrible.
Very
Most
good
of them.
quality. No, most of them. True, most of them. So again, just kind of looking at that again, I think you had about 4 films on your own that you put below the second shelf. I myself just had, I believe, 4 as well. Some a little bit lower on the shelf than others, but again, primarily the ones that made the top shelf for me were ones that I rated higher on my list, potentially into my top 5. I, in fact, looking back, placed a film in my top 5 that initially I did not have on a top shelf. So
Same. I have one that's not on the top shelf in the top 5.
just something to take a look at. But let us begin with number 10.
Okay.
Number 10. And I'll let you have honors on this one, Mr. Chaplin.
Okay. Number 10 was... This whole list is hard, and I did it by rewatchability and likability, like which ones do I watch the most and I really enjoy. So one film that I watch quite often, probably at least, once a year, would be Iron Man 3.
Interesting.
Iron Man 3, it was a second shelf for me. So I really like that film. It's a strong Tony film. Yes, it's a little disconnected from the rest of the films because Tony throws away his arc reactor, but it's still Iron Man in the Age of Ultron. But
you'll never see me coming.
No, you won't.
Manchurian.
The action is fantastic in that film.
Yes.
Fan-flippin-tastic. Outside the suit and inside the suit. The buddy cop nature of the film is great, so I love it. Iron Man 3, fantastic. Top 10 for me.
Number 10. So that's that. The honorable mention outside the top half for you.
I wouldn't talk about it that way, but sure. Sure.
That's one way to think of it. Okay. So we'll snake through this, ladies and gentlemen. So as Chris gives his first pick for that selection of that round, I will then give mine, and then I will then start the next number, which would means I get the next 2 to announce. And then he'll get number 9 and 8, and you'll see how this goes along as we continue to announce.
It's so confusing.
It'll snake through. You'll see. It's done very often in fantasy sport drafts. It's done often across the world. It's known as the snake draft format.
All right. Well, we all know that we're sports ball people.
Yes, go team. Number 10 for Chris, Iron Man 3. Number 10 for Alex, Avengers, Age of Ultron.
Oh.
And whether it is simply because it's James Spader, or simply because it is that we now have Jarvis in human form through Vision, I think those were certainly reasons I liked Avengers Age of Ultron at number 10 for me. Wonderful visuals. Not every day you get to see part of the Earth just come out of the Earth itself and just levitate above you. So that was kind of mind-inspiring and mind-bending, and that was fun for me at number 10.
It's a good movie.
It is a good movie. That's why it's number 10. At number 9 is a better movie, at least in my humble opinion. Number 9 for me was a more recent entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It is the Spider-Man Homecoming film at number 9.
Very nice.
Kind of watching that again and again more recently, and maybe again and again. Rewatchability was there that it may not have had from other films. I definitely liked the more school interactions of Peter Parker's like, I know Iron Man, and then everyone's just like, excuse me.
Yeah,
that was one of those fun scenes for me that kind of stand out amongst others in that film. Iron Man just kind of makes a cameo saying, well, if you can't handle your suit, you can't handle being Spider-Man. Kind of being a mentor and an uncle that maybe Spider-Man never had.
Oh, your sister. Your sister.
Coming up with memes, man.
That was harsh.
Shout out to Angela. Yeah, right.
Everyone go to Completing the Shelf on Facebook and you'll see the latest meme on there. It's pretty funny and harsh.
There are a lot of good ones. Yeah, those top 100 memes that the BuzzFeed article came up with is fantastic. So take a look at that as well. But number 9 for Alex is Spider-Man Homecoming.
Very nice. Where did you shelf that?
Spider-Man Homecoming for me ended up on a second shelf. We both ended up putting that one on our second shelf.
Right. That's right. So am I sneaking in now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So number 9 for me is Iron Man, 2008, the one that started it all. Iron Man. You know,
Gotcha.
It's really rewatchable until the end. But it's one of those movies I distinctly remember being in the theater for the first time I watched it and just being like, oh, this is a game changer. And I didn't know much about Iron Man at the time, so it was awesome. So Robert Downey Jr., you cannot talk enough about how he's contributed to this franchise, and so Iron Man in some form has to be on this list, and so it's number 9 for me. And so am I at number 8 now?
You are, but I'm just going to make note. You've now chosen 2 of the 3 Iron Man films back to back.
Yes.
Which means there's only one more Iron Man film you could draw from, and you haven't really diversified your portfolio. But it's early. You can go heavy on Tony at the back end of the latter end of the portfolio. That's fine. This is your top 10, which leads us to, yes, what is your number 8 top Marvel Cinematic Universe flick?
I mean, I've spent a lot of time thinking about Tony Stark with all my YouTube videos on him, but this next one, top number 8 film, is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Wow.
I love that movie. I keep hearing people don't think it's as good as the first. I think it's better in many ways. It's a better script. There's better character beats, especially between Yondu and Rocket. The line, he might have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy. I mean, there's such good stuff in there. Visuals are awesome. I like Ego. So I think it's a great movie, very rewatchable. I've watched it on Netflix many times. So number 8 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
You know what? We placed this particular film, looking back, on separate shelves. You've placed this one on your top shelf, one of the 5 films you've placed on your top shelf. I only placed this one on my second shelf, but it shares the number 8 spot on our top 10 list.
We have a duplicate.
We have a duplicate, but that's okay.
That's great. That means it's a good spot.
Yep, it's a very solid spot. I think we are in agreement. There was just so much I did enjoy about this. Looking at the, I'm going to apologize to this entire race of people, but the creepy gold people, who were they?
The Sovereign.
Yes, the Sovereign. The technologies the Sovereign had, having that entire fleet just being able to like act like they're playing a video game, but instead they are defending or attacking, that is pretty bleeping grooting cool, in my own opinion.
Yeah, it was fun and funny. A lot of humor just with that technology too.
Mm-hmm. So, one of my favorite lines, kind of looking back on it, Gamora speaking on Ego, telling Peter, quote, "Maybe this man could be your David Hasselhoff."
Yeah, that's a good line. The whole David Hasselhoff bit is pretty good throughout that.
Yes. Anytime you can make a bit about Hasselhoff and do it well, that is always positive. So
I do have to shout out Ben Browder cameo as one of the Sovereign. He is Cameron Mitchell in Stargate SG-1. I like to see him back on the big screen, so that's good.
There you go.
But what is your number 7, sir?
Now moving into number 7 on my top 10. This is another recent iteration. This is kind of like, maybe, I don't think it's the recency bias kicking in, but hopefully we are in agreement. Number 7, Thor Ragnarok, the third and final part of the Thor trilogy, finds its way to number 7 on my list. This as well, we found this on our shelving equally at number 2. But it was the best Thor movie we had seen, and it was a new side of Thor. And Bruce Banner, frankly, and the Incredible Hulk that we haven't seen, because the Hulk had lines. The Hulk had actual dialogue. Oh my goodness.
I don't think we mentioned, but I love their exchange about Hulk like burning, raging fire.
Right.
Thor like little holes or whatever it was. I love that.
So that certainly was a big plus, and the nice villainy that Cate Blanchett kind of did bring out of being the bitter sister who was guarded away and trying to show her brothers the true error of their ways, and believing their father, who ultimately tried to hold the power of Asgard for himself and not share with everyone and play in the sandbox together. But anyway, Thor Ragnarok, visually wonderful, played along well with its recent brothers and sisters in the cinematic universe. So for me, its rewatchability is higher. It leads me to its number 7 spot.
Yes. Well, number 7 for me is Spider-Man: Homecoming. You know, it's a great movie. We've already talked about it here, so I won't say too much. But
so, what about that movie stood out to you that I hadn't mentioned?
Well, I think it's great because it's small and focus on the character.
Yes.
You know, there's some action beats in it, but it is a smaller movie than the others.
Yes.
But I think it's going to pay off. I think Peter is going to be a huge character in MCU going forward. So these humble beginnings is a good start for him. So, yeah, number 7 spot for me. My number 6
yes,
is Thor Ragnarok. So I rank it a little higher than you.
Aha.
I think it's a great movie. I put it on the second shelf, which means, you know, it's a high-performing movie in my mind.
Pretty darn good, yes.
The score, I've been listening to the score lately. Fantastic. And I'm a big soundtrack nerd.
Yes.
And one of the weaknesses that people say about the Marvel Cinematic Universe is the themes of the characters aren't threaded through all the movies as well as it should be. But in the end of this film, as Thor is walking down the halls of the ship and takes the captain's chair as king, the original theme from Patrick Doyle's theme in just the original Thor, as he's about to take the throne, is played majestically, and I love that musical tie-in. It's great. So I love the movie for that and many other things. I think we didn't mention about Loki. He's great in this film. Yeah, I think one of our shelf nerds is a bigger lover of this film than us, but I love the film. I mean, I'm going to buy it. It's got to get on my physical shelf for sure.
Gotcha. So Thor Ragnarok wraps up your bottom half at number 6. My number 6, for me, comes in as something that we almost lost the entire podcast in retrospect. And
Oh
That
no.
was the fact that you had placed a movie on a top shelf and I did not, and
Be
that was
careful.
Captain America: The Winter Soldier
All right. Well,
at
good night,
number
guys.
6.
That's the end. I mean, Alex,
Not
I can't go further.
again. Oh my gosh!
What? Redeem
Like
yourself.
a
So
little
what do you
girl.
like about it? Hey, man.
So what I know your daughter's tendencies are maybe rubbing off on you. I don't know. It happens. Dad mode. I don't know.
I'm not going to make any gender stereotypes, so go for it.
Fair enough. Captain America: Winter Soldier, I liked it. It was certainly better than its big brother, Captain America: The First Avenger. So I certainly liked that. But for me, Captain America: Winter Soldier was certainly a rewatchable film, very enjoyable, and something that I would enjoy time and time again. Again, thinking about that, more than Thor Ragnarok, more than Guardians, more than Spider-Man, and more than Age of Ultron. I do really, really like this movie, and the whole can we trust, do we trust Hydra all of a sudden, or do we trust S.H.I.E.L.D.? Who is the one that should be protecting us, or do we need to watch out for ourselves ultimately in the end? That is why I kept Captain America: Winter Soldier in the top 10 at number 6.
And I'm just giving you a hard time. There's no right or wrong. I listened to a Star Trek podcast called Trek Ranks, and their main rule is there are no wrong answers. If you love it, you love it. The end. And however you love it, that's good enough. So I like to subscribe by that too.
You know, I love a good surgical garment, and I enjoy the delights of the Victor Mature abdominal corset, sailing down the Nile on the bleated kosher truss. And don't forget the Hercules Hold'em, the all-purpose concrete truss for the man with the family hernia. That's Hercules Hold'em and the all-purpose concrete truss for the man with the family hernia, now available at the Dollar General. Hercules Hold'em in. Our bottom 5 within this top 10. For Chris, he's got Iron Man 3 at number 10, Iron Man at number 9, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 at number 8, Spider-Man Homecoming 7, and Thor Ragnarok 6. While Alex has Avengers Age of Ultron at number 10, Spider-Man Homecoming at 9, sharing Chris's rank of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 at number 8, Thor Ragnarok at 7, and Captain America Winter Soldier at number 6. We're going to take a brief pause on our top 10 list and provide some feedback from some other shelf nerds and friends of ours from across our galaxies and our worlds who provided their rankings of their favorite films from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, I feel like we'd be remiss because, as I mentioned, my wife Jennifer was kind of the catalyst for all this. She could only give me a top 4. She said it was kind of tough again because she's only seen 8. She figured the top half of what she's seen would be the best way to rank them. So for her, she kind of based it off of the music from the movies, and that was certainly part of it. But again, I think she liked in whole Iron Man number 1 as her 4th favorite, Guardians 2, followed by Black Panther, and then Guardians Volume 1 was part of her top 4. Did your wife have any rankings whatsoever? Yeah, I certainly a great list. Liked a lot of those choices, and we've talked about some of them to this point, and we may bring up others in the future. Yeah, that's the tease. You're supposed to stick around and listen for more. But that's where her top 4 fell in. Did your wife have any top 4 at all?
She did. She only did top 4 because I think she's only seen around 8 as well. So at number 4 is Thor. Number 3 is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. See, she's better than you. Captain America: Civil War is at number 2. And then
the original Avengers.
The Avengers, yes.
Yeah, that's where I thought she would go.
That's a top
seems
spot.
Like a film
yeah.
she would like. It's about the shawarma. She's smart.
She likes shawarma, yeah, for sure.
She's a smart lady, shawarma.
Yeah.
Good. So we have some other, of course, inputs from others. Did you have any other members of your clan provide any feedback or any lists of their own?
Yeah. My sister Megan She provided a top
Ooh,
10.
cool.
And she said her list was based off of likability, not necessarily what is like the best. So, and she hasn't seen Ragnarok, so she's like, that might get on the list if she sees it. But at number 10, Ant-Man. Number 9, Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 8, Spider-Man Homecoming. 7, Civil War. 6, Doctor Strange. 5, Iron Man. 4, Black Panther. 3, Thor. 2, Avengers. And 1, Captain America Winter Soldier.
Aha. You chaplains.
We're
They
related.
all you all seem to be digging on Captain 2. I don't know. I think it's some brainwashing going on. Sipping some Kool-Aid over there, man.
Perhaps.
But let's see. He's not.
Do you have any other people in your
no,
life?
not immediate family members. No. I did have one of my fellow groomsmen, Sparty, aka Matt. He provided a top 5 of his own. He put it, and I don't think he ranked them as 1 through 5. He potentially did, but I'm going to go with the order he gave them to me. 5 as Avengers: Age of Ultron, 4 as Thor: Ragnarok, 3 came up with Doctor Strange, 2 Captain America: Civil War, and number 1 for Matt was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1.
Great list.
Yeah, good list. I think if he and I had seen a few of these together in the cinema, so that was a lot of fun and brought back a lot of good memories.
And you know what? I realized this week, you and I saw Age of Ultron together.
Yes, we did.
That's the only one of these we've seen together. And then next week we'll see Infinity War together. So that's
yeah,
cool.
my wife did mention that we both did see Age of Ultron, so she's properly reminded that, yes, that was my idea.
At Disney Springs.
Well, might have been her. It might have been everyone's bright idea. So, but mostly yours, Chris. You're right. I'm sorry.
No, it was my blunder because I remember I reserved the seats, and I read the screen backwards and got us seats right at the front.
That's right, because I remember I had terrible neck pain for 3 years after. No, I'm just kidding. My neck's been fine.
You're just recovering.
Yeah, just now. I can just have good posture once again. No. Yeah, that was. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but it was that long ago.
2015.
I know, 3 years. Amazing. But
Feels actually longer.
it certainly does. So there are other lists from other fellow pods and other places around the interwebs that we will certainly cover maybe at the tail end of the show, but we'll be back.
What the heck? I'm dying. Like surgical what?
I love the surgical garment. Enjoy the delights of the Victor Mature abdominal corset. Sail down the Nile on the Bleed-It Kosher Truss. And don't forget the Hercules Hold-'em-In, the all-purpose concrete truss for the man with the family hernia. The Hercules Hold-'em-In now available at the Dollar General and Family Dollar near you. Hercules Hold-'em-In for the man with the family hernia.
Where did you get that from?
I think it's another one from Monty Python that just kind of came back to me.
Okay. He's deep cut. Okay.
They're Hercules
Well.
Hold-'em-In. Eesh.
Welcome. All right, I'll get us back into it if I can stop laughing.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go back to the script for this one. Okay. Welcome back to our top 5 Marvel studies. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to restart because that didn't make sense.